So over the years, noise cancelling has gotten a lot of buzz. And why wouldn't it? We as species love to isolate ourselves from the rest of the world. And I started seeking that myself professionally because I realized I end up working in some really noisy environments, be it my actual workplace or a cafe or the commuter train. And yes, I wanted to sit amongst people forcibly and block them out. This is the height of opulence, obviously. So, before I proceed, I need to make a distinction between like two types of noise cancelling. There's passive noise cancelling, the traditional one, and then there's active noise cancelling. So, passive noise cancelling is simply like that padding around your ear or inside your ear, which is going to naturally block out sound. Like this. This is an example of passive noise cancelling. But active noise cancelling works rather differently. And to put it simply, it listens to the environment around you, right? And then it produces something called anti-sound, or like the opposite of whatever that's around you, and in turn it cancels each other out. Hence you're able to listen to nothingness. Sounds amazing, sounds great, sounds very promising. Even as a gimmick, I wanted to see how that works out, right? Don't you? So I wanted to remove any benefit of doubt with this, and instead of going and testing out some cheap active noise cancelling headphones, I wanted to go for the best, like one of the best. And so the word Sony came to my mind for some reason, because they position themselves that way, because they are providing like the best balance of sound and also active noise cancelling. For some reason in my head, I feel active noise cancelling and Sony are just sort of together. And you know what? Even outside of Sony, the word ANC, or active noise cancelling, is now associated with one of the most premium headphones you can get out there, and they're very pricey. And obviously they would be, because you need that additional bit of processing power to do all of that analysis of your sound around you and then produce that, or the anti-sound to give you that experience. So because I work in professional environments, it's not like I can keep like a big headphone on my head. So I went for the Sony XM4's in-ear versions. There's also the XM4 over-ear version, so I wanted to make that clear. And here they are. Because it's holiday season, everybody's buying gifts. I feel like wireless headphones become like really common purchases. These headphones are extremely expensive, like, so they need to be really worth your money. You're mostly paying for that feature, also the brand. So where do we begin? Well, first impressions come with the unboxing experience, right? And before I start, let me say that, hey, I love Mother Nature. I feel like I've got environmentally friendly practices in general. I do my recycling and whatnot. But these really expensive headphones come in like one of the smallest and most unimpressive packaging I've ever seen. Obviously, the box and all of those materials, everything that you will go through is going to be very environmentally friendly, almost as if you expose it to even a bit of moisture, it will just disintegrate right there and then. Fine. But look, just generally speaking, I feel like these should come with a little bit more oomph. So let's move into the second layer of the unboxing, the case itself. First impressions, well, it's got this nice black matte finish with that gold accent right there on top of it, Sony. And that feels nice to hold. It feels really premium to hold. Yeah, feels solid. There is not a lot of hinge wiggle there at the get-go, so that's fine. This is wireless charging compatible, so that's really nice. It has a Type-C charger there as well. So yeah, overall, look and feels pretty good. So when you open it up, you will see the light indicator go up, which shows you the status of charging on the buds themselves. And when you close it, it does it again, just show you the charge status of the case. So yeah, green means fully charged and yellow somewhere in the middle, and then it'll go into something like an orange red when it's at its low capacity. Honestly, I really wanted to like these headphones. I really wanted to make them my daily driver, because seriously, what a gorgeous looking headphone, right? It looks premium right when you open it. These gold accents against that matte black looks fantastic, right? Yeah, it's got its Sony branding right up in front. It's got this little port on the side and this little dial here. I wanted it to like rotate like it does on an Apple Watch or something, like to control sound or something of the sort. But this is the microphone which uses that active noise cancelling feature. for me, these look like a fashion accessory, right? These golden accents, they just look brilliant. So when it comes to an in-ear design like these, I've had one concern alone, which is that of comfort. Because I feel I've got small ears or small ear holes, jamming these inside them feel uncomfortable after a while, it builds fatigue, and eventually I've got to take them out. So what's the point of headphones that are not comfortable, right? So I'm really hoping that Sony took that into consideration and small ears into consideration, because I really want to like them. So have these headphones restored my faith in the in-ear design? No, they have not. Although they did a much better job than I thought they would be, but they were still uncomfortable and were still painful after a while. In comparison, I was also using these JBL, headphones. These are not noise cancelling headphones, but generally as an idea of, like to compare comfort levels, these were much more comfortable. They used the fin design. They were still like one of those conventional fins that go in the upside part, into the attic of your ear. Just generally they did a much better job in staying in my ear for longer in comparison to these, which were using memory foam tips, and I think memory foam tips are a bit over hyped as well. So getting back to the active noise cancelling piece. Now there is no good way to help you experience active noise cancelling via a video, and you will still have to go out and sort of experience it. But before you do that, I wanted to save you guys the trouble and help you understand of how it's going to eventually work, and what you can expect. Now a lot of people think that this is going to block out everything around you, right? It's just going to be the pinnacle of isolation from all sounds around, but that's just plain wrong. In my understanding, because these are in-ear design, they're not even over-ear ones. These are supposed to work in the best way possible because I'm blocking the actual source of my hearing. The way noise cancelling works, it tends to focus on humming sounds around you, right? Things that have a consistent nature of sounds. So people talking around you, it's not going to work very effectively. It just won't. You will still be able to hear them slightly, and that sound is going to be predominantly blocked by that passive noise cancelling, using that foam that's stuffed inside your ear rather than the active part of it at all. It does a really minute job of it, but it really isn't there. So just forget any expectation that it will help you stop listening to people themselves. Yes, it's going to reduce it to a very substantial part, but they will still be there. So I feel like their application works best when you're commuting, right? When you're standing in traffic, when you are in a bus, when you are in a plane, when you are in a train, there's always this humming sound caused by, like tire roar, caused by a train, by the engine, that humming sound. It's going to completely delete that from existence the time that you turn these on. And that's a really cool experience, 100%. That is where this will come in handy. But for example, when you're in an office, a rather quiet office, and then there's these sudden things that could happen around you, there's a chance that you might hear them depending on the volume on which you're listening to. I actually kept these in my ear without any music on, just to block anything out, right? Just to keep the active noise cancelling without any music. And the odd sudden sound is going to come and reach you. Now personally for me, active noise cancelling can also be a nuisance, because when you're in an environment where it can be reached by people who could call your name out and you would have to respond to, in the house even, a family member could be calling you out and you won't hear jack. Now Sony thought about that, and they introduced a feature here in which when you start to talk, it takes that as a cue and it pauses all your music and it turns the pass-through mode on, which basically uses those same microphones for active noise cancelling to amplify the sounds around you so you're able to hear that better. Now these headphones do a fantastic job at pass-through, right? It feels really natural, the sound feels really natural that's coming all around you, and I actually felt like during my whole day I kept these in my ears, even during meetings. I didn't have to take them out because it felt like those people were just directly talking to me and there was no intermediary in between. It felt really natural. So Sony does a great job at that pass-through feature. So I still found like the talk to pause feature a bit gimmicky, because when you speak yourself is when it sort of pauses the music, but if someone comes near you and says something to you, calls out your name, it tends not to pick it up. There is a sensitivity setting which can help with that, but it's a bit of a hit and miss. You'll still be missing people's audio cues, right? So yeah, something to think about. The talk to pause thing, I eventually turned it off rather quickly because I tend to sing along with my songs sometimes, and that it just pauses the music right where it, you get into the groove of it. So yeah, personally, bad idea for me. Also, when I'm working, I sometimes call things out and talk to myself when I'm working, and that pauses the music as well. So don't want to do that either. So yeah, I turn that off. I don't think I'll ever use it. So what is the alternative to that? You can't always take out your phone to turn on ambient sound and turn it off, or turn on noise cancelling and turn it off. So you can configure your left earbud to do that. You tap it to turn on ambient sound, and then you tap it again to turn off ambient sound and turn on active noise cancelling, right? Block the noise, hear the noise. Simple. But Sony felt that we needed a lot of assistance when dealing with this feature. So it's got its little internal assistant, right? Which, when you take it out of the case and put it into your ear, it's going to say the charge level of your device and whatnot. So that could be useful. But when it comes to dealing with ambient sound and noise cancelling, when you press it, it indicates whether you're on active noise cancelling or you're on ambient sound. But by the time she starts saying it, by the time she ends it, 2 seconds have gone, and you've probably missed what the other person was trying to say to you, or you missed your moment. So there's a lag between when you tap your headphone and by the time it activates or deactivates. And eventually, when somebody came to talk to me, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna tap it, I'm gonna listen to this guy. So he has already said what he had to say, and eventually I had to take one headphone out to hear what that person had to say. In comparison, these JBLs, although they're not active noise cancelling, they do have that pass-through feature to hear ambient sound, because passively it's still blocking out sound, and it works brilliantly. You sort of slide front, and it just turns it on and off at that very moment. So I found that to be much more user friendly in terms of dealing with my environment around me, and more effective. But yeah, I hate the delay in terms of switching back and forth. So I think I should correct myself there. So I went into the settings to find out that Sony did update their settings, and there isn't way to turn that nice lady inside your headphones off, so that the time when you tap it to turn on ambient sound or turn it off, it takes much less time now. So it still is a bit slower than the JBLs that I have, but it's much better than what it used to be before. So I thought you guys should know. Now, considering that these are very expensive, I wanted to talk about sound as well. The Sony has been praised over the years for having the most balanced and rich sound, whatever that means. Me personally, I like to have a bit of depth in any kind of song that I'm listening to, which means like bass, yeah. Some presence, some volume, some staging. I'm a bass man, right? I like to listen to really deep lows, and I like the thump in a bass. So again, these are expensive headphones, so I had expectations. Now, my first impression when I started listening to music on these was quite underwhelming. There was very little bass to be found. The overall profile was quite balanced. Yes, there was a bit of a stage. Yes, it was quite crisp and quite balanced. But I want to listen to the lows, right? And when I pay that much amount of money, I want to be able to control like the sound and the equalizer and whatnot. They have an application to do that. I played with all sorts of settings. They have a manual equalizer there, and for the lowest hertz, I tried to push that setting to the maximum, but to no avail. I could not get these to push out bass. However, interestingly, when you are listening to these at a lower volume, like somewhere below 50%, the bass is suddenly there. And there's good thumpy bass that's there. It's pretty good. But the moment you switch to a higher volume, they get washed out. I tested these on, different phones. I tested this on my laptop, on my Windows laptop, to see if that effect remains the same. Maybe it's a software thing. And it did remain the same. At high volumes, the bass is just washed out. Tried going across different forums to see if there's a fix, and I couldn't find any. Maybe Sony has an answer. Maybe you guys have an answer. Let me know if you do. But generally, I could not get these to sound, like bass rich when it comes to high volumes. If I'm listening to something like 50% and below, it sounds really, really good. If you want to turn that active noise cancelling on and listening to sound at that low volume, they are going to be giving you some really good moments there. Because sometimes I like that low volume rumble. You don't want the sound to be screaming at your head. You want to listen to it like a normal person. and you still get to have like that low end bass there. But you know what, sometimes I like listening to music loud as well, and I can't get that. If you guys have an XM4 like these ones and you're upset with the sound, just dial it down to 50 to 40%. That is where these things really perform. But no, you know, I paid a lot of money for this. I want to control how these things sound like, right? So let's conclude. Starting with the design. Well, these are probably the best looking wireless earbuds in the market right now. That gold accent against that matte black just looks fantastic. It feels premium from the outside to the inside. It feels nice to hold, and it's got a small form factor. If you compare it to the Samsungs, which already have a really small case, they're still very comparable, and they will fit in nicely into that little jean pocket. Ergonomics, well, like I mentioned, I guess they're still not there for me. Blame my ears, I have small ears. For me, comfort holds a really high weightage when it comes to wireless earbuds because I like keeping them in my ear for long. So if you've got small ears and you like to keep headphones in your ear for a long time, like these may not be for you as well. Moving on to sound, well, like I mentioned, I'll keep that volume below 50% and these will sound fantastic. Finally, the active noise cancelling, I think they work absolutely brilliantly with what you expect of them. These are not magic. These will cancel that sound out, which they're designed to do. Like that particular type of long, consistent humming sound, they do a brilliant job at that. And just generally around your environment as well, they will do a good job. Alright, so from a technical standpoint, these sound okay. But I cannot get myself to forgive them for how much they cost. Are these really worth that sort of money for the looks and for that active noise cancelling? Because that's personally what I feel like I'm paying for, and I feel it's not worth it. So personally, what I would do is I would instead spend a third of the amount on these. I mean, yeah, sure, they're bulky and they won't look good in my ear, but that passive sound isolation, that passive noise cancelling works just fine for me to block the sounds around me. And because I listen to my music loud enough, I don't hear things around me anyway, you know, coupled with my passive sound isolation. And best thing of all, that these have swipe features, and what actually that means is that I've got more control in each earbud, so I can control the volume by swiping ahead or swiping behind, while also tapping to pause or to move ahead or to go backwards, while having the same features for my Google Assistant on my left earbud and having the swipe to activate noise cancelling or turn it off. So that swipe feature isn't added, and I don't get why these premium headphones don't have it. They should have it. It was there in the original Samsung Icon X's, and all of these manufacturers just forgotten about it. That is an important feature for me, because for the Sonys, you'd have to decide if you want active noise cancelling control or you want the volume control in your earbud. And I want both, dude. When I'm paying all of that money, I want everything. So with that in mind, yeah, I'm gonna keep 2/3 of that amount in my pocket, buy me something else, and get these. So that is my verdict. Technically sound, but not worth the money. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, press the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm rather new, but I really appreciate the support. See you next time.